So the anti-deportation, anti-Trump, anti-acting like normal people protests have completely taken over the city of LA tonight, as they did last night. It seems to me this is going to be a recurring incident for the next few weeks, maybe even next few months, because as we know, the city of Los Angeles is absolutely not keen at all on actually holding anybody accountable and enforcing the law. Of course, maybe that is why the residents of Los Angeles in some of these cases are so shocked that the new federal government under the Trump administration is going to be holding people accountable. They are actually enforcing the law, because if you come from LA, you are used to laws not actually existing or being enforced whatsoever. But the news tonight is that at least finally, a lot of these crazy protests that are turning into riots, it seems like LAPD has made a number of arrests and is actually trying to do something to maintain law and order tonight. Because yesterday, you can't even make this up, the anti-deportation, woke, crazy, whatever protesters completely took over the 101 freeway. And I kid you not, blocking a major freeway interstate in California. The police just stood there and did absolutely nothing. Take a look. And guys, the crazy part is right after you see that video right there where, the whole protest here begins in the daytime, and then at nighttime, the police finally actually make an attempt to disperse the crowd. But the moment the police officers leave, I kid you not, the protesters come right back here and are once again blocking the 101 freeway. You can't even make this up. And meanwhile, on the bridge across the street, there literally are police officers there. You have LAPD, and they are doing nothing. They're literally just letting these insane anti-civilization lunatics take over crowded freeways with cars driving on them. It's not like this is exactly a planned closure. I mean, that's literally what is going on. And it got even worse last night, because while all these protests, I would argue they are riots, honestly, they're kind of devolving into riots, were taking place, the LAPD, and keep in mind, this is a city ran by Karen Bass, this is a state ran by Gavin Newsom, apparently did a stand down order. Like, they just left. As all that's happening, right, as you have protesters blocking the freeways, people in the streets are being unruly, they were starting street takeovers in some parts of LA. This is what is going on. The police officers are just like, oh, we're told to leave. Okay, bye. Have fun tearing down the city, I guess. This is crazy. Yeah, so keep in mind, all the videos I just showed you are from last night. We have not even talked about tonight and what happened in Los Angeles. But apparently we do have a statement from the Democrat Mayor Karen Bass on this entire situation. Of course, major protests are shutting down streets, to shutting down highways in her city. The police are having a really hard time. They're being told to stand down. It's a major crisis. It's a major issue of civil order. But never fear, Karen Bass is here to comment on the situation. Take a listen for yourself.
Absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today. Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position? Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster? No apology for them? Do you think you should have been visiting Ghana while this was unfolding back home?
Yeah, just to be clear for the fact checkers, yes, that is an unrelated video. It's a joke, okay? That's her responding to the LA wildfires, which was not much better, but that is still largely her statement on these protests, because the point is what? She said nothing, okay? That's what we're saying. She was saying nothing. She has gone total radio silence as this chaos and anarchy unfolds in her city. And you have to imagine at this rate, it's just going to get worse, okay? Because you see how these things typically get out of hand. Before we get into talking about what actually happened tonight, though, because apparently they are actually arresting people. I mean, that's a miracle. It's a Christmas miracle, truly. Oh my gosh. They're arresting people for doing this stuff in Los Angeles. By the way, I'm going to fully predict these people will be out of jail by the time this video is posted to YouTube. But nonetheless, okay, they're doing a little bit of something here. First, folks, though, before we continue this video, do us a big favor. Make sure that you hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. You subscribing is the #1 way to ensure that we can keep bringing you these videos. And with that said, okay, let me just say before we talk about tonight that in reaction to all of these protests that you were seeing across the country, I mean, you know, there are many arguments that could be made about this, but let me just point out something that I know this is nothing new and a lot of people have made this point over the years, but notice how in these protests against the deportation of illegal immigrants, and according to the Trump administration, who they're deporting here, in the vast majority of cases, you're talking about people who are violent criminals. You're talking about people who are public safety threats. In some cases, they've committed very heinous crimes, and this is who you are out in the streets protesting. This is who we need to protect. But nonetheless, notice how while they are causing civil unrest, while they are breaking the law, while they're impeding the lives, they're eroding the civil order, they're impeding the lives, the traffic of ordinary citizens being able to do what they want to do. While they're doing all of that, they're, of course, waving entirely Mexican flags. Have you noticed that? And, you know, again, this is nothing new. Like, they've done this type of behavior for years. But let me just say, does this behavior you're seeing right here between the civil unrest, the disorder, and the non-American flags not entirely vindicate? Does it not entirely vindicate the entire argument that conservatives have about illegal immigration? Because the conservative versus liberal dichotomy on the issue goes basically like this. It's like the conservatives say, well, these people are not Americans. They are foreign nationals who don't belong in this country. America needs to enforce its immigration law. Of course, the liberals argue to us that we need to be compassionate. And what is their kind of mechanism of compassion? Well, they usually say the illegals are Americans too. You know, they're just like us. They're part of our country. They're part of our citizenry. So what if they made a mistake 10 years ago? They should be allowed to stay. But it's like, okay, when you were out there right now protesting in favor of the rights of illegals while you're waving the Mexican flag, what you are inherently saying quite obviously here is that these people are not American. Because notice how there's not a single American flag at this protest. So you're saying you're not American. You don't identify with America. You don't view it as your country. By the way, I think the immigration status of every single one of these people should be checked because it should be a pretty non-starter. You come to this country and you're causing this type of civil unrest and you're here illegally. I think, you know, you probably shouldn't be here to begin with. But nonetheless, okay, guys, like, I don't even say this to be harsh or, you know, some people will call it offensive. No, it's just the truth. If you're going to go out in the streets like this, protesting against deportation, and you're waving the Mexican flag and not the American flag, then if Mexico is so great and, you know, you identify so strongly with Mexico, what exactly is the issue with people being sent back to Mexico who are from Mexico? You know, according to you, you're waving their flag. You claim it's such a great place. You identify with that place instead of America. Look, again, all I'm going to say on this front is the conservative argument on deportations, on illegal immigration, etc., entirely vindicated from this video, okay? Because, you know, you're trying to claim that you belong in this society, you're law-abiding normal Americans, and yet you're not identifying with America, nor are you being law-abiding. So, like, I mean, that's our entire point, is it not? But anyways, that is what is currently going on. I hope the average normal citizens of this country are watching this behavior and thinking to themselves, yeah, I think Trump has always been right about this immigration issue. I don't know, just saying. But nonetheless, okay. So that was all last night. Let's get now into tonight. Apparently, for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe Karen Bass thinks it's a bad PR look. Maybe the Democrats of California are like, we have to stop being so crazy because look at the Palisades fire. People are really pissed at us. The re-election campaigns are about to begin. But apparently tonight, finally, people in LA got arrested. Take a look here as they're sending in more police this time. So finally, we actually have like an adequate number of police around to control these protests that are happening in the street, which, again, you still notice do not see a single American flag. Not a single American flag in this crowd. Okay, so that is going on tonight. As you can see, they're like being deployed right here. And then here you have it. So a few hundred protesters gathered on Cesar Chavez in Alameda were warned tonight by LAPD that if they did not disperse, they would be arrested. Check it out. So you're protesting against the deportation of illegal immigrants by committing, or by holding, I should say, an unlawful assembly. It's like, okay. Yeah, I shouldn't be surprised that these people don't know how to follow the law. I don't know, I'm just saying. But now, finally, here you have it. By the way, shout out to Anthony Cabasa, my friend here, for covering this protest. Apparently, LAPD detained over 100 protesters that failed to disperse, hearing comms of law enforcement asking if the orders are to mass arrest everyone. So in short, guys, to make a very long story short, they effed around. And finally, they found out. Now, I want to say that with conditions because, you know, we're talking about FAFO in California and not in Florida. So FAFO means they're going to maybe put you in handcuffs and let you go immediately. If they do take you to jail, you'll be booked, but you'll be released immediately with no bail and no charges. Okay, so I don't know. I'm just saying, like, it's not exactly the biggest show of law and order you could possibly see. But at the very least, they're not letting people block the 101 freeway tonight. So I guess that's a positive. Check it out. Yeah, so as you can see, the protests are starting to ramp up across this country. Of course, it's been kind of a big question, like, where are the major protests against Trump's presidency right now? Because the kind of resist lib energy from 2017 is not there. And I would argue it's still not there. Like, these protests are not nearly of the scale that they used to be. But nonetheless, I did warn, even back during the election, like before we won, I said, look, this issue of mass deportations, they're going to push very hard to try to stop, okay? They're going to fearmonger to the maximum. People are going to get really up in arms. They're going to get really angry about it. And that's precisely why I think one of the big tests of the second Trump administration, and especially of the Republican Party, is going to be when it gets difficult, when people are angry in the streets protesting, when the mainstream media is constantly trying to compare it to like a certain regime that held power in World War II or something. Are you going to fold? Are you going to back off? Or are you going to fulfill your mandate and your promises to the American people? And that's what you're seeing now, right? Now the protests are ramping up. Now people are getting pissed. The good news, though, is it seems to me that the Trump administration has no plans of moving backward on this or, you know, toning it down at all. And the GOP is completely with him. So nonetheless, I don't think we're caving, but here's what's happening.
Let me read a headline to you. Chicago leaders encourage residents to exercise their rights in resisting Trump's deportation policies. The governor of New Jersey, Phil Murphy, basically admitted that he knew somebody that didn't have full documentation, that he was hiding over his garage.
But there's someone in our broader universe whose immigration status is not yet at the point that they are trying to get it to. And we said, you know what, let's have her live at our house above our garage. And good luck to the feds coming in to try to get her.
Your comment on all of that?
Well, I think the governor's pretty foolish saying what he said, because I got note of it, won't let it go, we'll look into it. And if he's knowingly harboring, concealing an illegal alien, that's a violation of Title 8 United States Code 1324. I would seek prosecution, or the secretary would seek prosecution. So maybe he's bluffing. If he's not, we'll deal with that. And as far as suing sanctuary cities, well, get in line, because the Trump administration is going to do that already. Sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals. There's one example, right? If the young sanctuary cities in New York City, if they would have gave us over the killer of Laken Riley when he got arrested in New York City for endangering a child, he would have been in jail. And he would have never killed Laken Riley. Sanctuary cities are responsible for deaths of thousands of young children throughout my career. And we're going to sue him. We're going to hold him. And look, if he's got to go to the Supreme Court, that's what President Trump wanted to do. He will end sanctuary cities.
Yeah, exactly. So look, guys, keep on protesting, keep on making yourselves look like idiots, and keep on, by the way, with this type of behavior, making more and more Americans realize that we are right about the issue of mass deportations. I'm just saying. But we're full steam ahead, okay? This is going to continue. We're not going to stop because you're doing some stupid nonsense in the streets. If anything, even I think the regular residents maybe of even very liberal places like LA and Los Angeles and New York and stuff are probably pretty annoyed by this. But nonetheless, we'll have to see. I will say this. I think that if LA cannot restore order to their streets, hey, Trump, you have an opportunity to do something very funny. I'm just saying, okay? Maybe go clean up California yourself. Just saying, he did it once. He already did it with the water. Why not do it with the riots? That'd be pretty funny. But anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comment section down below. Be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe if you are new. And until next time, God bless and peace.